start finish straight, sort of coming up to the apex itself, it's like over an ever so slight rise, so you lose that drift out curb. So what you sometimes need to do is have a look into the distance as you're running up towards the apex curb, before you get there, is look past it, kind of look over this way somewhere.
Yeah,
you kind of look past that point for something that when you get to the apex, that you're kind of aiming for then. It's a very personal thing, and it's something that you really have to build confidence in, sort of picking something. But it's surprising how quick you can get through this corner, but what dictates that speed is the confidence in allowing yourself to run out to the outside of the track without running off it.
Well, you're right in what you're saying, because what I always remembered is when I come out of that turn one, before I know it, I'm thinking, me, I'm off the track. You know, when you come to that kink, because there's no... before you know it, you think, yeah, that one, because it's featureless, I found. You know, as you come out of this, where we are now, before I knew it, I was hitting that kink and thinking, where the the edge of the track? Because it's just, there's no... You just run off it flat, because it's same level, if you know what I mean. Same.
It's a strange one. You can almost make, if you look at the angle now of the horizon, that shows me that I'm at kind of full lean as I'm coming in towards the apex. You can almost make one corner out of the two apexes with just a little bit of a sit-up in between. If you let the video run, you'll kind of see what I mean. As you tip into the corner, you go to full lean, a tiny sit-up, and then back in again for the second one.
Yeah.
So you're trying to create one corner out of two. But if you're not going fast enough, what tends to happen is the sit-up is slightly longer. So it's finding...
Yeah, you'll end up 10 bobbing it.
Yeah, you often end up doing that. And the second, if we go quickly to the overhead, if we go to the map, if you see turn one, it's not a 90-degree corner, it's a bit less. But then turn two is even less. So turn two technically is faster than turn one. But your eye is not quite seeing it quite right. They're almost the same radius. So the idea is, if you can string them two together, but you've got to get used to being right to the outside of the track. Coming from there,
right,
you've got to get used to running right to the outside of the track, and then that way you can then try and get that next corner in one radius. But invariably, there's a little part of the track here that you end up a little bit of a sit-up and then back in. But if you've come out of turn one and you're in the middle of the track, you really are creating a straight between two corners instead of trying to make one radius out of two apexes.
So you got to carry a fair bit of lick coming out at turn one, though, to keep that form, haven't you?
Yeah, but what helps there is when you're building up to it, is making sure that you run out to the edge of the track, so that your brain gets used to going there. Because as the speed picks up, you're naturally going to get thrown out there.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're not used to the idea of running right out to the curb, as you're running out to the curb, when you're going fast, you'll shit yourself and end up sitting it up or doing something stupid. Get used to using the track there. What this is about, really, turn one and turn two, is ultimately trying to create one radius out of two apexes. Let's go back to the video. I was using where the gravel is and where that meets. That was kind of my aim point to get back over there. But often I'd run out of time. If you've used up too much of the track coming out of the right, you haven't got time to get back over to the right-hand side of the track, ready for the left. So often I'd only get about 3/4 in the track, and then at that point I've got to start going left. So that's kind of where I'm looking for, and by that point I want to be going left. Now, after you've gone on the gantry here, I'm starting to look for, even though you can't see it yet, I'm starting to look for the grandstand in the distance, which you should just come into view. See the roof of it here now?
Oh yeah, got it. Starting to come. Yeah.
So as you're closing in on what is sort of the apex of the corner, which is difficult because it's a bit vague. Again, there's not a lot of big reference points here. I'm looking for the grandstand, and as soon as you see this top of the grandstand, I'm looking for the end of it, which is down here somewhere. And that's my aim point. Because this was another corner where you can end up popping over that rise and end up scurrying over the curb there. And that's
to fire you down too. Yeah,
kind of where I'm aiming for. And that allows you to drive hard from the apex onwards.
Got you, and you can drive hard coming out of there, can't you?
Yeah,
You can, yeah. It's a touch off camber, isn't it?
Well, it isn't actually. What it is it not? It's because you're coming effectively over a rise, and it kind of then flattens out. It's a bit like going around Druids at Brands. If you're familiar with Druids at Brands, you come up the hill towards Druids, and just it itself, it feels like it's a plateau. And it feels negative camber because when you're going into the corner, you kind of tip in on the hill going up to Druids, and it's like a positive camber. And as you drop into the corner itself, it feels like you lose the camber, but it's not. It's just because it's plateaued, and that's what happens here.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like that.
Yeah, as you're sort of coming up the rise, just about now, it feels like it's a negative camber, but it's not. It's just that you're coming onto a flat surface.
Oh, see, I've always thought, looking at it, and like you say, I've always thought Druids at Brands was, but when you think about it, it's not. You think it drops away from you because of coming into it.
Yeah, but you walk around Druids. It's a really positive camber the whole way around. It's great. The braking references are things like, you start to look for the grandstands here. Look for whatever you want, which works for you. These lines here, can you see them? The white lines which mark up, well, those are effectively your 100, 200, 350. They're like your countdown markers. And if you look, see, I'm quite low down in the rev range here because you've got a lot of acceleration to do around this next section. But I basically let the bike run right out to the outside of the track, and when I get to the outside of the track now, I'm looking for this gantry. And between the gantry and see there's an orange mark. Well, there's another one just out of sight in the corner. And between the gantry and the next orange mark, that's kind of where I'm aiming to get over to the left-hand side of the track. But it absolutely flat stick through here. It's where traction really plays. It gives you a real comfort feeling because you're at pretty much full lean, more or less on full gas. So it's quite important to keep turning left and end up effectively on the left, on the straight. What you don't want to be now is you don't want to be down here because you never get there to go right. So you'll end up tipping in to this right-hander from the middle of the track, and all of a sudden it becomes a really tight corner. Where from here, the radius is so much bigger. If you can open a radius out, if you can open that radius out effectively, you can carry more speed through the corner.
Yeah.
So big radiuses are good.